Fremson. I'm a staff photographer at the New York Times. This is actually good because now I know what my poor subjects feel like. I was assigned to work with Andrea Elliott on a project about child poverty and child homelessness in America, documenting the life of a young girl named Dasani, who became known as the Invisible Child in this series. Dasani lives in New York with her siblings and her parents in a homeless shelter. It was an incredibly challenging project because we didn't have access to going inside the homeless shelter. During the course of the year that we followed them, we were able to sneak into that shelter only once for about 40 minutes. And how do you explain the life of a child whose living conditions are so terrible that they affect everything else about her life if you can't actually show where she sleeps at night, where she has most of her meals, and where she is other than on the street or in school? This family has a lot of struggles and issues, and because of that, it took a long time to earn their trust. There's an extra layer here because you're dealing with children. Children's trust is easy to gain because they're pretty innocent for the most part. Even when they're Dasani and she's pretty streetwise, she's still a lot more trusting than somebody 10 years older than her. We had to be extra careful to make sure that the parents were on board. And in the course of doing that, we became close to the parents as well. We became close to the whole family. And it ended up that we started telling the story of the whole family where Dasani was the focus. Anybody who goes into a story and shows genuine interest, is open and is respectful and is curious, people are happy to tell their story, I find. And if they believe, they genuinely can feel that there's real interest there, then gradually they'll open up. I mean, it was a rocky road with Chanel, the mom. There were definitely times when she didn't want me around because she was doing her thing and she was with her friends. And there were certain times when, quite frankly, she was probably a little embarrassed to have me tagging along after her. It just took time. Sometimes just sitting across from the shelter on the stoop of the building across the street and just waiting for them to come out. In the course of a year, there were actually a few great shooting days, and then the rest of the time it was mostly hanging out with them, often not even with a camera, waiting and waiting and waiting. The kids were actually really fun to hang out with anyway, so. When this series came out, it got incredible response from New Yorkers, and nationally it got a great response as well, so much so that our mayor immediately removed something like 400 children out of the homeless shelters in New York City, created a SWAT team to address problems in homeless shelters. I was getting emails from people all over the country who had never known Dasani. I had gotten an email from a woman who was a specialist at Christie's art auction house. And she sent me an email saying, I've been reading your story every day, and I've been in a puddle every day on the train to work. And I thought, this is just amazing, because here is Dasani, who would never have any opportunity to enter that world other than through this sort of miraculous way. This woman in this incredibly different demographic became aware of her. So, I think we did help raise awareness of a very important issue, and we did affect some change with it. You can't ask for anything better, can you, right?